The Arrowverse is off to a rough start this year. What's up, everybody? My name is Josh Riel. I'm here with David Griffin to talk about what's going on with Flash, Supergirl, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. So the thing with these shows is that they all had crazy, awesome cliffhangers for the most part at the end of their last seasons, and now in this new season, they're all not really making good on any of that potential, and I find that really frustrating. What about you?
Yeah, and it's surprising because with a show that's so long, these shows, the series are about 23 episodes per season, you think they wouldn't have to rush their stories along, but it seems like they're in such a hurry to move on to the next plot point instead of letting their characters live a little bit with what happened in the previous season.
Yeah, and we don't want to go in super deep to all four shows, but for example, with The Flash, that was the one that actually most made me angry, was that at the end of season 3, there was this big threat, and Barry had to go into the Speed Force and say goodbye to all his loved ones. Caitlin went off to discover who she is as Killer Frost, or to not be Killer Frost, and then we fast forward to this season, and Kid Flash and Cisco and Iris are trying to save the day, and Joe, without Barry, and then by the end of the episode, they not only get him back, they restore him to the way he was, and then they're like, here's the Flash, and so it felt like such a waste not to have Wally spend more time as the Flash. We finally got him in the suit, which a lot of comic book fans have been wanting to see for a long time, because he took over for Barry for a very long time in the comics, and we didn't get any of that. So it felt like, what's the hurry of just leaving? Why not leave Barry in the Speed Force for a couple episodes, or bring him back and he's not restored to the original status quo by the end of the first episode?
We had this problem with the previous season of The Flash as well. Remember Flashpoint? Such a huge story.
Yes.
We hope maybe we're going to see it in the movies at some point too. But the problem is, even in Flashpoint, we were only there for about an episode and a half or so, and they moved on to the next storyline. It's frustrating to see them rush their stories along. It's just too bad. Hopefully, this is maybe another video for another time, we're going to see Wally in Legends of Tomorrow more often, because he's a character that I want to see more of, and not just as a secondary character.
Yeah, it seems like they don't know what to do with him in Flash. But let's talk about Arrow, which at the end of season 5, that was arguably the best episode of Arrow ever. It even got a perfect 10 from our reviewer, Jesse Shadeen. Normally like an 8 from him is a 10 from anybody else. The fact he gave it a 10 was like a big deal. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't believe it. And then Lian Yu explodes. Anyone could have died, really. And then we find out that Thea was in a coma, and the mother of Oliver's child, she did pass away, but she was a minor character. Sad to see her go, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I don't believe they did that. I don't feel like they made good on all the crazy developments and the huge plot of the villain from the previous season.
And also, some of it doesn't make sense. Like, for instance, with Diggle. So he seems to be going through some type of post-traumatic stress syndrome, but he's been through so many wars and battles before. Of all the characters in the Arrowverse, like, he would be the last person I would think to be struggling to shoot his gun. It just doesn't seem like he's the same character that we know from previous seasons.
Yeah, I feel like maybe one of the newer characters, I believe Jesse even said that in his review, that if anyone were going to feel that way, well, let's just say it wouldn't be Diggle, right? Yeah. So, I mean, the Legends as well. Let's talk about that real quick. At the end of last season, it was the most ridiculous cliffhanger. They broke time. Yeah. They finally did the thing that they've been trying to avoid doing all the way up until then. So it was a big failure on their point, and we saw dinosaurs in modern day times in a city. And then within the opening moments of the season premiere, all the dinosaurs disappear in the Time Bureau, which they explain. It's like, oh, I spent years making this Time Bureau to fix all of this. But for us, the audience, I would have enjoyed at least one episode where they had to deal with that specific crazy scenario that we were left thinking about for months in between seasons.
I mean, for me, The Legends of Tomorrow is the strongest ensemble of all the CW superhero shows, in my opinion. I think that it would be, like you said, so much fun to see them scramble around, run around, and try to fix everything. Like, where did the dinosaurs come from? Like, why are they here? Like, what's going on? Like, seeing them go back and fix all this stuff instead of a simple, easy fix with the Time Bureau coming in. It just seemed very rushed, which I think is the pattern that we're talking about here. The shows are rushing through their problems from the previous season finales.
Yeah, it's like they're left on a really crazy cliffhanger that it evokes a new status quo, but when we get to it, it's like the writers change their minds, which they're allowed to do, of course, and maybe it'll all turn out for the best. We're, of course, just at the beginning. We have a lot of episodes to go from here. But I feel like maybe they're not they should use what they had instead of trying to just jumble things up and go for a brand new status quo at the end, by the end of the first episode, because the threat was the dinosaurs and that time is broken, right? And by the end, the threat became, or not, it's not really a threat, but the conflict became the fact that the Time Bureau now exists. It's like, what role do the Legends have in a world where there's the very efficient Time Bureau?
I am, do have to give a quick shout out though. I am very excited about the villain for Julius Caesar. He was an actor who was also in Spartacus series on Starz, who's a very formidable actor. So I'm excited to see where that goes. But again, we could have built up to him. We didn't need to get to that villain in the first episode. But again, that seems to be the problem with this season so far.
Yeah, and we'll just briefly touch on Supergirl, which again I feel like I'm repeating myself now. Is that they like Mon-El went away, and that had a huge impact on her. And this in the very first episode, she was very down, and I thought, oh, this is going to be interesting, sort of a darker turn for her character. But then by the end of the episode, they're like, oh no, it's like Supergirl matters, and so does Kara Danvers, and she was back in a positive attitude. And I was like, really?
Let these characters mourn a little bit. She lost the love of her life.
Yeah.
I mean, Mon-El's love of her life, and he's gone, and let her be in mourning for a while. Let her go a little dark. Let's see what she does. She's not the, one of the jokes in the beginning of the episode was about like, wow, she doesn't even stay for autographs anymore. She just flies away. Like, I want to see more of that Kara Danvers for a while, but we're not going to get that.
Yeah, so before we go, what do you prescribe for this problem? Like, what would you say to the people making these shows? Like, what do you want to see more?
I want to see them take their time with the stories that they set up in the very beginning. I want to see if we're going to do, I know we're past this now, but if we're going to do a Flashpoint series, let's do like half the season with Flashpoint. Move into this season with the Flash. Let Wally be the Flash for like, I don't know, 12, 13 episodes. Like let Barry just stay where he is and then bring him back later. It's like they don't trust their ensembles that they have to carry the show without the leads. And I think these casts are strong overall. I wish they'd use them more.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like maybe even take the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. route, which they did. They had like one chapter of Ghost Rider, one chapter of LMD, the one chapter of this fake Hydra world, and it was 3 very distinct chapters with different characters coming to the forefront, and I think they could really benefit from that, especially with these giant, like 23 episodes, 23, right?
Yeah, 23. With Arrow and Flash, for sure, it's 23
episodes.
Yeah,
it's 23 episode seasons. That's absolutely crazy. So the Arrowverse shows did not get off to a great start, but we are hopeful that they will find their footing in the future and make up for it. But hey, if you want some more cool DC content on the site, check out our analysis of the latest Justice League trailer, or check out a review of Batman vs. Two-Face. And make sure to follow and subscribe wherever you like to watch IGN.